This is my journey to a sub 7 average. It includes many fails and great successes, with over 12 months of work to accomplish one single goal.
Counting to 5, do the work. I'm doing so good today.
This story starts back at the beginning of 2024. At the time, I was averaging around mid to low 7, and I was really looking to get a PR average. My current PR was around 7.65, and I knew I could beat it. And at my first competition of 2024, I was finally able to break my over 8-month PR, getting a 739 average.
Yes, let's go.
This average marked two important things for me. The first one, it showed me that I had the potential to clutch up and get good averages, even after practicing so long and hard for it. And the second thing it did is it marked the start. The start of something that would take me on a year-long journey, resulting in many hardship, failures, and at the end, even success. A journey that I thought I would never accomplish and didn't even believe it until I did. This was the quest for sub 7. My next competition after that competition in January was Husky Pride 2024, which was in June of that year. I won't go much further into detail because it was kind of embarrassing, but here's a cool 6-second solve that I found that I look pretty happy with, so yeah. Moving on to the next one. The next competition would be 2 months later, and it was Tacoma Summer 2024. And this is where I finally got a taste of what sub 7 feels like.
Oh my god, Kate.
The first average of the day was pretty uneventful, as I got an 8, a 6, and then a 10, which ended up killing the average already. If I wanted any chance at sub 7, I couldn't get any counting times above 7.5. But going into round 2, I was not mentally ready for what was about to happen. My PR single at the time was 635, which had been my PR single for over a year to that point. I was overdue for a PR single because I was consistently getting sub 6s and sub 5s at home. But anyways, I started out this average with the 7.5. Already, I was feeling a little demotivated. But on the second solve, this happened.
Oh wait, that's PR. Let's go.
A super unexpected PR, a 6.17. I didn't even realize this was PR because a 635 is just not that good for me. And to get a 6.1 is just pretty normal, honestly.
Yes.
Nonetheless, I was still happy with the solve.
Let's go. Oh my gosh.
But on solve 3, I see there's a super easy scramble, and I was not ready for what was about to happen. A 6.08. I just beat my PR single again, 2 PR singles in a row. That means I basically have a PR single that's counting towards the average. So now my 2 counting times are 6.17 and probably going to be a 7.51. On one of these last 2 solves, all I needed was a 729 or faster and I would get a sub 7 average. It felt inevitable. As I was waiting in the waiting area, people were already giving me congrats, telling me that I did it. But I still had 2 more solves to do. And honestly, going into solve 4, I just wasn't in the correct mental state. And this is what happened. 8.81. I was super disappointed with this, but I still had one more chance on this last solve. Even though I still only had 1 solve left, I felt like sub 7 was guaranteed. 725 was mid for me. That's what I averaged at home. All I need is an average solution and average execution to get a sub 7 average. But I was very nervous, and I took my final breaths, and this is what happened. And I just couldn't do it. It felt like sub 7 was so impossible. I PR'd twice in the same average of 5. It felt inevitable. All I needed was just a normal time to get sub 7. And with that average, I got a 7.40. It wasn't even a PR average. It was 0.01 off of PR. This was devastating, and you can tell by my face in this video. I was heartbroken, soul crushed, more demotivated than ever. I can't really remember because this round was just so long ago, but I'm pretty sure I cried after this average. It was just so hard. I felt like I had been working so hard for the sub 7, and it just wasn't happening for no reason. I couldn't even get a PR average, even with the 2 new PR singles.
Oh wait, that's PR.
Oh my god.
What was happening is I was setting unrealistic expectations. Instead of aiming for a sub 7 average, I should just aim for a PR average and slowly build upon that over time. That is a lot of a healthier mindset than trying to go for a huge jump. And if you don't achieve that huge jump, you're going to be mentally cooked. At the time, I didn't realize this, but the only thing that was holding me back from sub 7 was my mindset. And over the course of the next couple competitions, I would realize that more than ever. But nonetheless, I still had finals. 9, 10. Boom. Average already dead after the first 2 solves. But wait, 636? Okay, kind of bringing this back. Okay, 7.5, pretty much dead. And a 6.8? All right, not so bad. Got a counting 6. That's a pretty decent way to finish off the competition. The next competition was 3 months later down in southern Idaho. Sadly, I recorded most of this competition on my old phone, which I don't have anymore, so I don't have too much footage, but I'll just show you the footage that I still have. Again, as I said earlier, my mindset was horrific, and I didn't do great at this competition. In the first round, I started it out with a 6, then got a bunch of mid times, and then ended it with the 6, resulting in a mid average. Second round, started out with the 6 again, this time being a low 6, and this one was so close to PR single. And as you watch the video, this lockup on this A-perm is what cost me the PR single. I'm pretty sure I also missed an OLL skip solution, which would have also been a sub 6, but that's okay. But then the rest of the average was just trash as I counted an 8 and a 9. But then in the finals, I got a 709 to start. Then again, 2 mid solves in a row, which made me think this average was already dead. Then got a 661. Even with these trash times, my BPA was still 7.11, which is PR average. So with the potential of a PR average, this is what happened.
Yep, it's over. Congrats on the win, Michael.
And yeah, a 10. And as you can tell from the video, this just shows how cooked my mindset was.
Yeah.
I think why this fail hurt so much is because this was my first competition in so many months, and I wouldn't know the next time I would be able to compete. Luckily, I wouldn't have to wait too long as I would have 2 more chances following the new year. This first one was in Spokane and only had 2 rounds of 3x3. And sadly, again, a very uneventful comp with a bunch of 7, 8s, and even 9s. But there was one solve that I did get that gave me so much hope in the future that I'm going to show you guys now. And without the solve, I don't know if I would have ever been able to finish this journey.
Let's go, baby.
5.24, my PR single and my first ever sub 6. The craziest thing is I did make a mistake in the middle of the solve where I rotated and rotated back. This is what I like to call a false rotation. And without this rotation, I think I could have had a sub 5. But I literally did not care. I finally had beaten the sub 6 barrier. But even with these poor results, I still had hope, as my next competition would be in 3 weeks. And there, I would have my best chance at getting a sub 7 average since my competition back in August of 2023. On solve 1, I almost used my entire inspection predicting a decent enough solution. I then got this P-shape OLL into a Z-perm. So decent last layer and resulted in a 6.6. On solve 2, you couldn't see much at the beginning because Samir's dad was on the way. But it was more the same consistent slow turning. But watch, when I get to last layer, one look last layer. And I was really happy with this, a 6.0. And in this moment, I was nervous. I was already pacing a good average through 2 solves and I couldn't throw this away. If I got another sub 7 on the 3rd solve, this would almost guarantee my opportunity to get a sub 7 average. And with all of these thoughts and all of these nerves, this is how solve 3 went. Much cleaner and faster turning, good OLL, U-perm, and a 6.7.
Come on, baby, come on.
At this moment, I was freaking out on the inside. This was my best chance to get a sub 7 since I counted the 6.1 back in August of 2023.
Oh wait, that's PR.
Oh my god.
And on one of these last 2 solves, all I needed was a 7.57 to guarantee a sub 7 average. But even if I mess up both of these last 2 solves, all I needed was an 8.74 to guarantee a PR average, which is basically guaranteed at this point, right? Well, as I have learned in the past, there are no guarantees. But I wasn't thinking that at the time. All I was thinking was, let's have solid turning and let's finish out this average strong. And this is how solve 4 went. 9.0. As you can tell from my facial expression, I was getting really stressed out. I now only had one chance to get a sub 7 average. And even so, since I got a 9-second solve, I wasn't guaranteed a PR average. But my goal wasn't a PR average. I was going big or going home. So I was going for the sub 7 average. The buildup of many months of practice, the many sad solves, and the many great solves all led up to this single solve. And I think this solve is the defining point of my cubing career. Now, I'm not going to commentate the solve. Let's just watch. .66. It was not a sub 7 average. It wasn't even a PR average. And once again, I had proved to myself nothing is guaranteed in life. By me thinking that it was inevitable that I would get a sub 7 average, I failed to even break a PR average. And this last solve, my turning was just so bad. Like, look at this. This is just so bad. And sadly, you can't see the reaction because my dad stopped recording. But I can just assume that I was just devastated on the inside. And like other competitions, I didn't end up doing well in the next 2 rounds. I only had one sub 7 solve in the next 2 rounds, which was a 6.2. But honestly, I was asking for it. To think to myself that sub 7 was guaranteed only after 3 solves was completely irrational. And after that competition, I just thought to myself, why does this keep happening to me? I felt like that there had been some curse laid upon me for no reason that I cannot even break sub 7 nor my PR average. To this point, my 739 PR average was well overdue to be broken. And that average was from over a year ago. But as I've learned as I've gone about life is, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey to get there. And in my journey, Caden Lee's journey to sub 7, I had to go through all of these fails just so the success would be that much sweeter. Because who you are as a person is not a result of your successes, but a result of what you've gone through in your journey. The day was April 12th. This was my first competition in many months, and I was very excited for this one. But this competition felt super different. Leading up to this competition, I prioritized 2 things, my practice and my mindset. First off, I realized if I plan 2 pairs in inspection, it's almost guaranteed to be a sub 7 solve. So the weeks leading up to this competition, I practiced playing 2 pairs in under 15 seconds. And then the thing I finally changed about my mindset is I went into this competition with my only goal was to have fun. This was a huge shift in mentality. And because of these 2 things, solve 1 resulted in a 6.8. Already a great start to the average and a huge confidence booster. To start an average with a sub 7 after not going to a competition for many months, this was huge to me. But as you can tell, I was super nervous.
Wow, I can feel my heart so fast. Oh my gosh. Oh.
As we look at solve 2, you can also see another thing. I have a towel for my solves. I've never really used a towel for my warm-up, but this helped me so much. A lot of times when I compete, my hands get really sweaty, but I use the towel to wipe the sweat off my hands. This helps me to have better stability on the cube and helps me to have more consistent turning when competing. In combination to that, I had a pretty solid 2 pairs planned out on this scramble, and this is what happened. A solid 6.6. I had a pretty big pause in this solve, but I got bailed out by a good OLO-PLL combination. But solve 3 is when the nerves really cranked up. I took my time in the warm-up, but when I saw the scramble, I could literally just see nothing. So I was barely able to plan my first pair, and honestly, the solve was just not that great. And that resulted in an 8. Going into solve 4, I knew I had to get a good solve for any chance for sub 7. But as you see on this 4 solve, look at this scramble. This is so good. I was able to get all my pairs to flow into each other. And then I got this really easy 2 GLL ZBLL. I was so relieved with this and super happy with my composure under pressure. Oh, and shout out to my boy Hank who was judging me right here. He was really impressed with my ZBLL.
That was a very different algorithm than I used for that OLL.
Oh, that's because I use ZBLO. Oh, here, sign Judge right there.
Thanks for judging me, Hank. You're the GOAT. But now, again, it all comes down to solve 5. Again, I just needed a decent enough solve to get sub 7, and the pressure was real. I was super nervous. But this time, it felt different. I had gone through so many fails and so many experiences that prepared me for this solve here. Things that shaped my solving style and my mindset. But the scramble here was not easy. I was only barely able to find my first pair. And let's see if I'm able to do it.
Yes!
And there you have it. Quite possibly the greatest moment of my life. 668 official 3x3 average.
Oh wow, and it's the average. It's all good.
And many people would say this is the perfect fairy tale ending, and I would agree. I had just beaten my PR average by over 2/3 of a second and doing it in the most clutch way possible. And just like that, all of my goals for this competition were fulfilled. I have had fun and broken sub 7, and there was basically nothing else that could happen to make this competition even crazy.
I'm trolling right now, bro. I'm trolling.
Okay, that was a weird way to start off round 2. A 6-7 with the soon PLL skip. Whatever, let's just go on to solve 2. All right, a 7.8 was more of what I was expecting for round 2. Because of me already getting sub 7, I had really low expectations for round 2. But going into solve 3, I just didn't really care that much. And right here, a pretty smooth F2L, and then OLL and cancellation into the ARP burn. 6.1? What? This did not feel like a 6.1, and suddenly I had PR potential again. If I was able to go into my next 2 solves and count the 6.1, this could get into Uncharted territory. But going into solve 4, I wasn't really thinking about that much, but when I started inspection, I had a really good scramble. I started out the solve with some pseudo slotting, and then reached ZBLO, and 6.0.
Oh my gosh.
We are now reaching Uncharted territory. This is the craziest pace I've ever had in a competition ever. And going into solve 5, my best possible average was 6.31. If you told me before this competition I would go into a solve 5 with the 631 best possible average, I would say you're lying. Because before this competition, there was no way in heck I was getting a sub 6.5 average. But now with the opportunity of a lifetime ahead of me, and me calming myself down right before the solve, this is what happened.
What the heck? Dude, what the heck? Okay, yeah, write it down. Sorry. Oh my gosh, dude, I got it counting 6-1 and 6-0. 6-1, 6-0. You got it. Dude.
And with this solve, this has officially been crowned the craziest competition of my life. But remember, I still have one more round to go. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking to myself, can I take this momentum into the finals? And let's just say I wasn't prepared for what was to come.
Are you gonna get another PR?
Dude, I got another 5.
Oh, dude,
True.
it's close.
Dude, 6-4.
If you get like PR once again.
Again, what if I get another 5?
You guys saw that right. In the craziest competition of my life, I was once again on PR pace, getting my first ever counting 5, and I had a BPA of 6.05. And on this last and final solve of the competition, if I got a 6.68 or better, I would get another PR. But to say the least, I was really nervous. And when I saw the cube, the scramble was decent. And let's see what I can do here on the last solve of the greatest competition of my life.
It's a good salt. It's a good average, though. I am very, very, very content.
So yeah, I wasn't able to pull out a third PR, but I didn't really expect it. And as I said, I was very, very content with these results. This 652 average placed me second in the competition, only 0.03 behind Samir. And that 631 average that I got in round 2 is still my PR average to this day. So there you have it, guys. That is my competition journey. That is my sub 7 story. I've been wanting to share this story for many months, and it took so much editing. Like, as you can see, this is a 20-minute video, and I hope the least that it can do from this video is inspire you to get faster. And speaking of getting faster, go check out my coaching on cubing.gg. If you want to get faster at 3x3 and you just want structured improvement and you want a professional to help you out, I'm the guy. All right, I guess let's talk about it now. My shoulder, you guys can see I have a shoulder brace. I don't know if you guys know this. I talked about it in my last video. I play football, and at football practice, I tore my labrum. So the labrum is a thing in your shoulder that keeps it in place. So basically what happened is I tackled this like tackling wheel dummy thing at practice. My shoulder dislocated and tore my labrum. And the craziest thing is I'm getting surgery in 4 days. So whenever you see this video, please wish me luck, pray for me, everything would help. But before my surgery, I actually have a competition that's coming up in 2 days. For this competition, I don't really have any goals. I'm just going there to have fun. And one last thing before ending the video, we hit 8,000 subscribers, which is insane. My last video, we literally just hit 7,000 subscribers. So you know what that means? That means giveaway time. I found this $27 gift card to thecubicle.com, which I'm going to be giving away today. How to enter the giveaway? Really easy. All you have to do is subscribe and comment on this video. And I'm going to be choosing a random comment a week from today, so you better subscribe.